Hello, everyone. Welcome into Southeastern 14. I am Blayne Gilmer, and we are here to talk about the state of the program for the Missouri Tigers. And Mizzou, boy, did they have a year in 2023, finishing it off with a Cotton Bowl victory over Ohio State, where they really begin to assert their will and their physical dominance late in that contest. And despite all the opt-outs, roster stuff, everything like that, it is an impressive thing when you can beat a program like Ohio State when you are kind of coming up into the ranks of college football relevancy, national relevancy, as Eli Drinkwitz and company have Missouri doing right now at this point in his tenure there in Como. So I think when you're talking about Eli Drinkwitz and you're talking about Missouri, I think you first have to talk about the state of this program is extremely strong because of mutual trust between Eli Drinkwitz and the administration there in Missouri. They had the foresight at Missouri to see, hey, we see kind of what's going on behind the scenes. We see the culture. We see how these young men are responding. The results early on may not have been exactly what they wanted on the field, but they ended up extending Eli Drinkwitz in 2022 before he even had all of this success on the field. They saw the games that they had, some of the close contests that they were losing. They knew they were close. And I think that speaks volumes for the Mizzou administration to show that belief in Eli Drinkwitz, and man, did he make it pay off this year. So excited to be going through the state of the Missouri program, which, as I said, if I could summarize it in just a couple words, they would be strong and promising is the state of the Missouri program, because there's a lot to be excited about if you're a Mizzou fan going forward. And we're going to break it all down here today. But guys, first we got to tell you about our partners at BetOnline. Whether you are wanting news, odds, trends, predictions, BetOnline is the place that you need to go to get them. Head on over to betonline.ag today, because guys, whether you're a college athlete, pro athlete, those guys have to train their bodies, train their skills constantly, can't take days off. And BetOnline doesn't take days off because there's so many different sports that you can go and get in on the action on, guys. Of course, the NFL playoffs are about to enter the divisional round as we're recording this. Also, you have the NBA in full swing, NHL in full swing. You're about to have NASCAR and everything else. Golf is about to get going. So it's a great time in the sports world and a great time for you to head over to BetOnline to make sure you have the up to second odds and all the news and info. BetOnline has all of your sports wagering info, and it's available to you whether on desktop or mobile access, depending on which one you would rather do. Head over to betonline.ag today and get into the action. Remember to use the promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV, all caps BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. And where we're going to start is how Eli Drinkwitz and company have built this roster. I think what you have to give them credit for is that no, they're in the early top 20s there, anywhere between 20 and 25, depending on where you look at it in terms of high school recruiting ranks, not just dominating in the high school recruiting ranks, but what Eli Drinkwitz has done is he's been able to keep key prospects at home. You look at Luther Burden coming from the East St. Louis area. You look at Williams Winari, who is a 5-star prospect that is going to be on campus for Missouri this spring as they get going into spring ball. But being really, really good in terms of landing key pieces out of the transfer portal. Theo Weiss was tremendous this past year and really made some big plays coming over from Oklahoma for Missouri. And now you've got a situation where people like Enos Rakestraw are going on to the NFL. Javon Foster is going to be moving on, things of that nature. So when you're talking about that, they had to go out and get key pieces. So what do? They go out and get Toriano Pride, who's a St. Louis area kid that is going to come to Mizzou from Clemson. They go out and get Caden Green, maybe the best tackle available in the entire transfer portal class from Oklahoma, who played a lot as a freshman. Was a good player for Oklahoma. He transfers over and will be able to help fortify that offensive line. And they lost, of course, Cody Schrader, who was maybe the best running back in the country this year, arguably, and also was a guy who had some Heisman talk at different points and things like that. I don't think you can overstate how important Cody Schrader and his production on offense was to be able to provide the balance, to be able to provide a toughness, a mentality for that Missouri team, that they were not going to be bullied, that they were not going to be one-dimensional, that they were not going to be able to be stopped offensively with any kind of consistency. And I think Cody Schrader was tremendous for this program. But as he moves on, they needed to find someone, a back that could be that kind of bell cow, that guy that is going to be that guy that can put the team on his back in terms of, if you need 20 carries in this game, I can take 20 carries in this game. Marcus Carroll can be that guy. I don't care what league you're in. When you're averaging right at 5 yards a carry and then over 10 yards of reception, you're doing something tremendous. And that's exactly what Marcus Carroll did for the Georgia State Panthers. And remember, guys, I don't know if you've watched much ball in the Sun Belt, but it is not an easy league to play in. I'm telling you, there's good football played down there. And this young man had 9 100-yard games in his career for Georgia State. Okay. Also, out of 274 carries, he produced over 1,300 yards. He is a violent one-cut runner that is going to make a decision, stick his foot in the ground, and is going to get north and south and can punish people at the point of attack as well. I think Marcus Carroll is going to be a great fit. I think he maybe end up being more of an inside zone runner than an outside zone runner. I think he'll be fine at outside zone. Don't know if he'll be as good as Cody Schrader was with it. But you're talking about a program that, with Eli Drinkwitz helping Kirby Moore, because I know he still gives his input every now and then over on the offensive side of the ball, and Brady Cook coming back, and Theo Wees and Luther Burden, and now you sprinkle in these transfers. What they've been able to do is they've been able to address their needs in an effective way. They've had enough buy-in with the NIL and things like that they've been able to be competitive in that space. And then also, I mentioned the high school recruiting. While not dominant, they're doing things that to help make sure they keep some of the best at home, like the Missouri State Legislature changing things that if you live in the state of Missouri, then you're able to receive NIL earlier than, in some other places and things like that, as long as you are, signing with or signing a letter of intent with Missouri. So there's just so many different things that is showing alignment, not only from the state level, but the administration there and Eli Drinkwitz. Now, they do have a deal where Blake Baker has left and went to LSU. Kevin Peoples followed him, so they're still in flux a little bit on the defensive side of the ball and are losing a good amount of players over there. So I think that will be the biggest test here for Eli Drinkwitz is, okay, how does the depth kind of take over? How does some of those key pieces that they brought in the transfer portal fit in? And then who will the defensive coordinator be? We still don't know that as we record this on January 16th. So I think that's the big thing. But the true measure of greatness is consistency. An 11-win season, being right there in contention all year, is tremendous and shows the trajectory of the program. But the true measure of greatness is consistency. Can Eli Drinkwitz and company be consistent going forward? I think when you talk about the future with this Missouri program, if they are able to embrace and really attack things from a unique standpoint as they have from the beginning of the NIL era and in the transfer portal era under Eli Drinkwitz, I think they will be a solid team that year in and year out will be able to fight for an at-large bid in the 12-team playoff. I think that's something that is not out of the realm of possibility for Missouri, and I don't think that's something that you would have probably said 18 months ago. Okay, I think that's how much Eli Drinkwitz has, earned some equity. Okay, has earned some respect around the college football landscape with what he's been able to do, how well that defense played at times in 2022. The offense came along with it in 2023. Now you see the recruiting and the NIL and the transfer portal and everything starting to just cohesively come together. I'm telling you, I like the future of this Missouri program going forward. And I think when you talk about state of the program, if you had to rank it in the SEC ranks, of course, I know you've got Texas, Georgia, Alabama, who are all right up there together. But I'm telling you, with Nick Saban having retired, okay, and there haven't been whispers that people like, hey, maybe they'll go look at Eli Drinkwitz at Missouri to be the next head coach at Alabama. There were those talks out there. It shows you where Missouri has come. And I think you would put Missouri and Ole Miss right on the same level, just barely underneath those top programs, those top brands that are Georgia, Alabama, Texas, Oklahoma. I think just right there under. Now, on the field, I would take Missouri over Oklahoma right now any day of the week, okay? And I would take Missouri to play a close game with those three big brands that I talked about in Texas, Georgia, Alabama. I think any other school in the SEC, you give me a neutral field with Missouri, I like Eli Drinkwitz and company to come up with a great game plan. Now, do need to see who the defensive coordinator is going to be, but if you're going to be successful and you're going to sustain a tenure there at Missouri as Eli Drinkwitz, you're going to have to deal with your coordinators being poached. That's just what happens. You're a victim of your own success at that point, and it's how well can you adapt and overcome that. That's something that Kirby Smart has been great at. That's something that Nick Saban was great at is, hey, a coordinator moves on, being able to find somebody to replace him, and the machine just keeps rolling. I think you're going to see Eli Drinkwitz show that he's an effective leader. One, he's hilarious. I think just the Connor Stallions comment on the game day show that he was on as they were preparing they found out they were going to be playing Ohio State, and he said, hey, hold on, I got Connor Stallions on the line. Hilarious. One of the best moments. The one day they'll do a documentary on Drinkwitz, and that's going to be one of the things that's on there. Funny stuff. So you can be funny, you can have fun, and you can still win and instill a culture of toughness in your team. And I think that's the difference between maybe the Columbia in Missouri and the Columbia in South Carolina, is that, yeah, both guys like to have fun and they're kind of goofy at times and things like that. But Drinkwitz actually gets it done on the field and also gets it done in talent acquisition as well. So I love the future of Missouri, and I love the state of the program right now. Tell us what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications. And, guys, we will talk more about Missouri football and SEC football, as we always do, right here on Southeastern 14, presented by BetOnline.